Bonjour, this is Jasmine. Thank you so much for stopping to smell the roses on Rue Madame. For those of you who are new to the neighborhood, I am a writer, a storyteller, and a community builder. I write about culture, politics, parenthood, and my life here in France. But I have good news. I was able to secure a trip back home. So I'm talking about my home in France from my home country, the United States. And I'm in my hometown, Michigan, in the Detroit area. So I'm very excited to be with family and to get out of the house and to really catch up with friends and my loved ones. It was a relatively smooth trip as well, so I'm very blessed to have gotten here without any major hiccups. And my children are able to be with their family, and even my husband, wasn't technically allowed to travel overseas to the United States. But fortunately, since we are married and he is an exception to that rule, he was able to join us on this trip. So I'm just really excited. I'm in good spirits. I'm very, very happy. Um, but I wanted to just talk to you guys, catch up. And I was um, read about some political news from France while here. So I was like, okay, that's perfect. And it's kind of big political news. The French president, Emmanuel Macron, he was recently assaulted. Yes, like physically harmed by a spectator. So the story goes he comes in for a political event. It's in a public place, and he's shaking hands with his voters or whoever. And there's a man in the crowd who shakes the president's hand and slaps him in the face. And I'm like, whoa. Actually, a relative of mine sent me the video because I didn't even hear about it. I'm traveling, getting rested and comfortable here. And yeah, I was sent this video and I was like, wow. And this happened on last week, on the 8th, I believe. And it was kind of surreal. It's like, wow, a president was slapped by just a stranger. And apparently, this man was affiliated with the far right political movement in France, which are like fringes, the fringe of a political affiliation, and he's from the far right. And the far right are known for their extreme behavior and can be considered terrorists at sometimes. And it kind of reminds me a little of the United States because the far right are the people who stormed the Capitol, for example, in the United States, or in Michigan, um, the Michigan governor, I think perhaps last year, um, she was a target for an attempted kidnapping and possible death on her life. And luckily, that plot was foiled before anything happened. But it's in the same vein of extreme political views being exploding in making the news. So the man was apprehended. Secret Service, took him, and apparently, from the news that I got recently, is he was given up to 18 months, um, a 18-month sentence. And it's actually 4 to 18 months, so perhaps he's eligible for parole, or maybe he's eligible to get out earlier. But I don't know really how the judicial system in France works, but it's much, much, much more lenient, extremely lenient compared to the United States. And the relative who sent me the video, he was like, if that was in the United States, number one, that video probably may not have reached the masses. It wouldn't have been circulated as easily. I don't think that's true. I think with social media and just technology, it's hard to keep those things under wrap. But with algorithms and censoring, maybe. And number two, he was mentioning how if that was a United States president, The Secret Service would have shot that man on sight. Like, no questions, no ifs, ands, or buts. He would have been no longer with us. And I had to think about that. Is that true? Like, yeah, the president was slapped. Yes, that's horrific. Yes, it makes you think of how dangerous these jobs actually are and how politicians are in a very vulnerable place, even though they have a lot of benefits and luxuries. Um, but I think my relative was right. I think if it was in the United States, he or she may not have survived that incident. Um, but you never know. We always have the incident with um, a spectator through um, somebody in the audience threw a shoe at the former U.S. President George Bush, and that was like made headlines, and it was the joke of the century. Like, yeah, he was like literally thrown a shoe at him. Um, but being slapped, yeah, he may have gotten at least shot, at least hurt very, very badly, but not just apprehended peacefully and taken away. And that's unfortunate. And it makes me think about the value of life here in the United States compared to other countries, and in this case, France. Because here in the United States, you can be have a tail light out in your car, and if you're black and you may talk back to the police, or something may arise where you may not survive that situation. It could be a Philando Castillo situation. It can be, a host of unfortunate incidents where motorists, black motorists and specifically, have minor offenses. Sandra Bland is a good example. And they lose their life for just doing nothing, actually, doing nothing illegal or criminal. But the suspicion can get you killed. So the fact that that's the case in the United States, and in France, a man who happened to be white, I don't know if that adds to the story or not, but can slap a French president and only get 4 to 18 months incarcerated. I don't know. Actually, I think that's fair. It's like he didn't do any, like he's not dead, and he'll probably be on probation for the rest of his life. I don't know, but um, yeah, I think we just don't value life as much, even though there are incidents of police brutality, of course, everywhere, France included. So France is an exception to that, but generally speaking, and I wanted to bring up other examples of extreme incidents like these, because just 2 or 3 days ago, Mélenchon is a politician also in France, who's well known for being a part of the left movement. Some say far left, but I don't even think that really is a thing. But he's more of a socialist, and he's ran for president several times, Mélenchon. But recently, he was a spectator again in a big crowd, because I don't know, I think that's more French than anything. Like, yeah, that's very, very French. For the frequency of politicians in big crowds is more frequent in France. But anyways, he was enfariné. Enfariné means someone threw flour all over him, and kind of like, it's kind of like getting feathered, but just with flour. And I'm sure that person also was jailed and apprehended and everything like that. And it also reminds me of another incident. I was just talking about this with my husband about Manuel Valls. Manuel Valls, it was the prime minister of the former president, Hollande, and he was slapped, or attacked, something like that, in a similar situation. And I don't know if this is very common in France. I doubt that it is. But these are three major examples. I'm like, wow, is this like, are there links to these? or not. Um, so yeah, I just thought that was funny. Just a little political news. And one more honorable mention. In my small town in France, recently, the mayor of our town was um, there was like a break-in at his home, which made the news as well. And I don't know if that was politically motivated to attack this particular mayor, but it kind of gave me the same vibes as the governor in Michigan. Um, yeah, just weird stuff. But enough of political news. Tell me what you think. Tell me what's going on in your town or city or country, politically speaking. Some far fetched or just funny news, I guess, politically speaking. Share, like, comment. But I want to end this on a positive note. I wanted to give you guys a bit of my trip so far because I got to visit family and the kids had a lot of fun. It's a heat wave in Michigan right now. It's been in the high 80s and 90s and low 90s for the last week. And it's been super hot and super sweaty, and but it's really really fun. So we got a lot of water time, a lot of pool time, a lot of sprinkler time. So I wanted to share a bit of my vacation, not really a vacation, but my trip home, away from home, if you will. And yeah, I'll be back. So that was a bit of our time here so far. A lot of silliness, a lot of family time, and yeah, I've been trying to write more and more. I have a lot of ideas, but having the time to just spread them out and concentrate on one idea at a time is kind of difficult. But I recently uploaded an article about the exploitation of Black trauma. And that's up on Patreon. So become a patron and get access to the latest posts there. And it has something to do with the latest book that I read, Kindred by Octavia Butler, which was a group book, but it kind of like scarred me a little bit. I like took it personal, the main character and whatnot. But thank you guys so much who's participating in the Rue Madame book club. I'm so excited. I have to get on the next book that we're going to read. I'll put that in the description and where you can join the book club. But yeah, check out the latest posts and like, share, comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.